Good afternoon, everybody. How are you today? I'm your host, the Big Man on Campus, joined by my co-host, Donnie Wright. Donnie, it's Thursday, October 12th, 2017. I haven't pulled off the Chris Russo impression in a while, Donnie. I didn't prepare for that. I could try it later. I'm pretty good at impressions. How was that? Was that all right?
I think it's a little bit, your impressions have gotten very good with SBR talent. I think we're lacking again going national, but I like it that we're focusing more on SBR talent as opposed to polishing up on the national guys.
You must have missed my Ed Orgeron, Donnie.
But the Ed Orgeron, I consider that SBR though. You know what I mean? That's just an SBR thing.
I have to work on the Chris Russo one, but I used to be able to do it really good. I'll get it back. But we're back, Donnie, Thursday. Really big weekend coming up. Big Thursday coming up. A lot going on. We got plenty to talk about today, and we're going to get to everything. Donnie, we got a riveting college football game tonight. UL Lafayette, Texas State. And, Donnie, you know me. I'll bet on anything. I'll bet on Marist and Stetson in college basketball. I'll bet on anything, but sometimes you just have to realize that some games just aren't going to be very good, and there might not be a betting edge. Last night, I thought there was. I thought Troy was a really good play. The under, I thought it was like a low-scoring kind of game we thought it would be. I didn't think Troy would lose outright, but we'll get into that game tonight. Could be the worst Thursday night game college football-wise I think we've seen it a long time, Don.
But that's a good thing for us Eagles fans,
right?
We ain't going to be paying too much attention to it anyway. So.
Exactly, and I don't think much of America will be either, because you do have on paper what should be a pretty good NFL game. So we'll get into that. We'll hit every game in the card in the NFL at some point. I'll give a pick. Donnie will give a pick. We'll get to all the games, so feel free. Tomorrow, Donnie, that's going to be college football day. We've kind of developed that at SBR. We'll take questions. We'll go over games. A lot going on. So before we get into that, though, Donnie, we should we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the Yankees and baseball. Now, I have a little egg on my face this morning, Donnie. Being the great Yankee fan that I am, I didn't think Joe Girardi could do what he did last night, and they did it. How about that? 3 wins in a row. This team hadn't won in 5 straight on the road in the playoffs. You get the Kluber. I mean, Donnie, you got to give it to Didi Gregorius. I mean, this guy's been really the ultimate professional since he's gotten to New York.
Great. Yeah, and it was an unheralded move to get him as well. Like, Jeter's out of town. We're going to get Didi Gregorius. You know, most people are like, what? How's that going to replace the legend? Man, yeah. And again, not only playing steady all year long, Jeff, you get these guys to perform in the playoffs in big spots. If you would have came into Game 5 and said Didi's going yard twice, you'd be like, get the hell out of here. That's what big time players do.
No, and he's just been, I mean, he's done everything correct. He's a good kid. I mean, he's smart. He's a great player. He's really filled in. I mean, you have arguably one of the better shortstops we've seen in this sport in some time, you know, and he comes in and just flawlessly has fixed it. And look, Donnie, there are holes in this lineup. I mean, Frazier, Headley, they're bad, but I mean, guys like Gregorius stepping up. You had what an at bat by Brett Gardner, that 13 pitch at bat. You get a big hit there. Why can't the Indians win these kind of games, Donnie? What's been the problem here?
I don't want to say clutch hitting or what it is. I mean, they did run up against a good baseball team last year. I don't consider this as that much, even though they were up 2-0, as a collapse, because it wasn't where, you know, did they have like a monster lead in one of these games and fall down? I mean, they played some games. They just weren't as good as the Yankees when they needed to be.
Yeah, and they came back in Game 2 in a game that they probably should have lost. Which,
exactly.
Again, you know, you, Donnie, have been a big proponent of, you're not a fan of CC Sabathia, which I can't knock that. I really can't. I'm not the biggest CC fan. I think his good days are behind him, surely. But he has come up in big situations. The concern and problem with CC Sabathia is he does not give you innings, and you're wearing your bullpen out for 6 innings. I mean, you can't do that every single start, Donnie. He's got to at some point give you more innings.
Yeah, I don't really think he can do that, but isn't it the perfect fit though? Like if CC Sabathia's on the Phillies, he probably loses 20 games because you go 3.5, 4 innings every night, and you know the bullpen comes in and can't rescue you. It's sort of a perfect storm because we've seen it, Jeff. We've even bet on it. CC, just make it to the 5th inning and hand it off to the bullpen, and we should be able to survive. We've done that a lot, betting against him, or betting with him, excuse me. But it worked out well. I mean, there's something to be said though about a veteran in that situation, because one thing, whether you think CC's going to perform or not. He's not taking the ball in game 5 there, Jeff, and shaking in his boots. Do you know what I mean? There's something to be said for that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting in the next round. Houston comes to town. That'll be a great series. We also have one game today, a game which, Donnie, you and I didn't think would happen. I thought the Cubs were a great play us today.
What's up with that?
Well, they couldn't hit. They were they were brutal with runners. I mean, every time, it seemed like every inning they'd have gone second base at 1 out, and they just couldn't get.
Yeah, if you take away that obviously the grand slam was a big play. I can't even believe it even came down to Michael A. Taylor hitting one through the wind opposite field of Wayne Davis was amazing to watch. But I love game 5. So I wasn't, I ended up losing a little bit of money on the game because I was on the Cubs as well. But the little things that happen in baseball games, like the check swing that's not called, 50-50 call, next play you boot it, it's 1-0. But another one, if you like Ben Zobrist, God love the guy. He's a true professional baseball player, but he's older in age and just can't get around as well. He doubles down the line, which should have been a triple with 1 out, stops at second base. The next, I think it was Baez maybe came up next and literally just missed hitting a home run. But if Zobrist was on third base, he scores that run. I think it's a little bit different of a ball game there. They don't get that run home in bad conditions. And kudos, man. Sure, I bet against that situation, Jeff, just because Strasburg, I didn't think had the head on his shoulders to win that game, especially after all the turmoil went around. And, of course, he goes out and dominates. That's the way it goes.
Yeah, dude, I'll be real with you. Addison Russell and Zobrist are brutal. They are brutal at the plate, man. I mean, Schwarber's not even in there. He's so brutal. That lineup is poor. I mean, other than Rizzo, Bryant, Contreras gives you hit once in a while, but I mean, that Russell-Zobrist combination, Donnie, is bad. I mean, throw John Jay in there. I mean, Jason Hayward. I mean, their lineup from an offensive standpoint in the outfield, I don't know. I'm skeptical with that group. I mean, you would agree, Donnie, that Zobrist is clearly 5 years too late. Russell's been a mess at the plate. You can't. I mean, every year the Cubs seem to think that they just think they could just get all these great defensive players. And I know they won last year, but long term, I mean, Jason Hayward's going to have to start performing at the plate a little bit. I mean, he's a great defensive player, but at what point do you say, well, we need you to give us more from the plate, Donnie? Yeah.
No, you're right about that. And the key one, the one I always liked, the guy who jump started that team was Dexter Fowler, and you just let him walk. I mean, that's a nice piece.
I didn't get that at all. Man. Yeah,
and you let him. Go ahead.
And you let him walk to St. Louis. I mean, yeah. What? Weird.
Yeah, money's not really too big of an issue in Chicago. And again, it wasn't like, they stole him the year before. What was he supposed to have a deal at the Nationals, fell through, signs a 1-year deal with the Cubs and performs, wins a World Series. That's usually somebody that and again, yes, going to a division rival, usually you say, you know what, hey, I know you like it here, and I don't want you to go to St. Louis. Stay here, leadoff hitter.
A lot of shit was made yesterday in the 8th inning. It was 5-0. Cubs fans were leaving the game. Keep in mind, this was a game the next day, a game in which it was pouring, it was cold. They hit.
I don't think they left in the 5th. It wasn't 4-5 in the 5th inning, was it? Wasn't that later in the game?
No, I believe when they left, it was 5-0 in the 8th inning. And people.
Oh, 8th. I'm sorry. I thought you said the 5th inning. I'm like, damn, that's cold.
People were tweeting out that they were leaving and they're shitty fans. Blah 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 blah.
I know. I saw Gabe going after that. I tend to disagree.
Well, I'm not even talking about him. He was commenting on it. Like Ace Farmer was tweeting it out, and I'm thinking to myself, well, I mean, look,
I'm leaving.
Fuck yeah, I'm leaving. I mean, why wouldn't I?
I've left Eagles games. I remember one game, Jeff. We had a home game which you were trying to creep back into the playoffs, and I want to say somewhere around 2005, 2006. It was a Monday Night Football game. They were retiring Reggie White's jersey. His family was in the house. Right. It was an exciting night. Matt Hasselbeck and that good Seahawks team beat the tar out of us in the first. I believe it might have been 35-0. And the running joke was in the second half with Al Michaels is they kept going to the blimp shot where they weren't even talking about a football game in the fourth quarter. They were making jokes, and there was literally 5 people left in the stands that night.
When you're at a game, whether it's MLB or wherever it is, you have to ask yourself, in my mind, do I have a feeling that they can come back? Because, Donnie, I've stayed at games. I was at the Met-Philly game when the Phillies were down 7-0, came back and won the game in like 13 innings. As far as for me in my head, I have to think to myself, do I think this team has a chance? And yesterday, I had no reason to think that the Cubs could not only score runs, but even put hits together to score runs. It was bad. And again, I didn't know he hates the Cubs. So there you go. Yeah, I got to be honest. I would have left too. You would have also, right, Donnie?
I've left games in Philadelphia, sure. I mean, who hasn't done that? Teams getting blown out. I even have one, Jeff. You remember the snow game with Shady going nuts?
Left, right?
I didn't see the second half of that game.
I actually didn't even go to that game. I was asked that my boy G's, who's currently locked up, free him soon. He actually goes that we go to every game together. He said he called me the morning of. He said, "Dude, are you going?" I'm like, "Dude, no, I'm not going." I mean, do you look outside? I said, "How could we play a game in this?" And he's like, I'm like, "Are you going?" He said, "Yeah, I'm going to try to get down there." I said, and I wish I would have, looking back on it. But
I was sitting in the car on the way home listening to all the great runs by Shady. I wasn't mad at myself because I get so frustrated because we needed to win that football game. You finally have a dome team coming outdoors, Matthew Stafford, Megatron. You're going to beat them. If it's just a straight up regular field, you're going to beat them. And I remember it was like a kick return by Detroit, 12-0, I think it was. The Eagles couldn't go more than 3 feet, and I was absolutely livid. At the half, I told my dad, I was like, I can't take this 1 minute more because we're going to miss the playoffs because it snowed 7 inches in a half hour
brutal,
before
right?
kickoff. Yeah. And I leave and they end up winning. I was so happy they won the game, but I was so furious at the half that I felt like the Eagles were getting cheated in this game. Yes.
Yeah, let us know if you've ever left a game and what the situation was. But yeah, look, again, if you're leaving a game when it's 2-0 in the 8th inning and your team's been nipping at people's the whole game, that's kind of a violation. But
in the playoffs, exactly.
Right.
Come on, man.
I can't say I've left a game though in the playoffs at any rate. So, let us know if you've ever done that. Donnie, before we get into the NFL, which is on most people's minds today, let's quickly hit. Now, I want to make this aware. Get your ears out and listen here because I don't want to have to go back and talk about this game again after this. So let's open our ears here. UL Lafayette, Texas State, because Donnie, in about 14 minutes, someone's going to come in here and say, "Hey, what do you guys think about the UL Lafayette Texas State game?"
And I'll just tell them I'm thinking, good luck on that one, man.
Yeah, and I'm going to say, "Hey, al salud. Good luck." You got UL Lafayette minus 13.5 against Texas State. Totals 55. As I said, Donnie, I love. The Super Bowl one's a good one. I don't care what the score is in the Super Bowl. I'm just going to try to soak that in. If I go to it, I'm going to try to stay there as long as I can. If you're Mark Wahlberg,
I don't know, Jeff.
No,
I don't know, man. Dude, I don't. If I'm at an Eagles Super Bowl, I finally got there, and we're getting our brains knocked out. I'm that type of fan that I'm not leaving because I'm like, I have so much money and I'm just going to get on my jet. But I'm leaving because I might commit suicide and I can't do it.
But if you're Mark Wahlberg, first of all, you're not sitting with everyone else. You're in a box. You have anything you want. Where do you have to go? I mean, really?
No, Jeff, hold on. Preface that by saying the Patriots have won many Super Bowls.
Sure.
There. So it should be just a party for you. Like, hey, maybe we'll get another one. Oh, we didn't get another one. We have 70 million of them already. And maybe if you're from a different perspective, like if you're from a team like the Eagles, we don't win Super Bowls and you finally get there and you're getting your ass kicked. Like I actually might just go hang myself somewhere.
There should be a 5-minute rule in the fourth quarter. If you're down more than 21 points with 5 minutes left, you can leave. I understand that. But in the third quarter, you're leaving. And then you make
I don't know about the third quarter. I don't know about the third quarter. You're right. You got to be at least in the fourth quarter, halfway through.
Yeah, and then again, you make some solid attempt to lead. I mean, just brutal. Okay, great comment here. This is a good one. Attention, big man and Donnie. Please do not make any more MLB picks. Jesus, thank God I went the other way.
Well, wait, wouldn't you want
No. Let me at this. Let me discuss this. Now, I want to talk about something real quick. Donnie and I, all summer, got on here every day, went over every Major League Baseball game. Most handicappers don't do that. Most handicappers sit on the sidelines during baseball. We came on here every day and answered questions every day about baseball. And you have the nerve to come on here after one game and say that to me. I mean, there's a lot of shitheads on here, and many of them we don't get along with, but even they don't do that. I mean, come on, man. Are you serious?
Yeah, fade him up. Fade them up. I'll give a play out today for this game.
I'm going over them because I have to. I don't bet baseball after the September 1.
I did lose chicken nuggets money last night, Jeff, in that game. So
fuck out of here, bro. Fucking dork.
I did actually lose chicken nuggets money. But yeah, but I mean, Jeff, you know me. Most people in the chat box know as well. I don't think I haven't handed out a play in baseball since maybe September 4th or 5th. So I mean, we're just reviewing it and going over it, see if we have some edge. I thought it was a decent edge yesterday on the Cubs based on that whole thing circling. And again, it wasn't like you get in that game like, hey man, my play of the day is going to be Chicago Cubs minus 295. You know, I mean, it was minus 113 at close. Wasn't that bad of a loss?
I've really been trying to be like much more, to the point, get to the games, don't worry about people, but don't come on here with that crap. I mean, you want to go against what we say, fine, but don't come on here after the game and say you suck, you had this and that. Shut up, dude.
Now we can cap the NCAA football game.
Drew's been a problem before, though, Donnie, as we know. I mean, he's in everyone's DM talking shit. So, he's justifiably someone you have to get out of here. UL Lafayette minus 13.5 against Texas State. Total is 55. Two things here, Donnie. Actually, the same thing here. Both these defenses are bad. UL Lafayette's the worst statistical defense in the country. 46 points a game they're giving up. Texas State's giving up 34 points a game. Both these defenses are bad. But then you look at Texas State. I mean, Texas State's always had trouble with scoring the football. When it was Dennis Franchione, doesn't matter. They've had trouble scoring the football. You look at this year, 14 points a game, among the worst offenses in the country. But I do think at some point they'll get going a little bit. Tonight would be a great time to get going. This defense for Lafayette is really poor, and Lafayette can move the football. I mean, they're a team that's going to put points on the board. I agree with Michael Baia. That's a great point. I think this is a gift. And by the way, Drew Youngston, Drew must have forgot about the college football. Listen, I don't make no bones about it. This is times for me. It's college football and NFL, as does Donnie. So we're just laughing about that one. But I go over. I mean, Lafayette's 15th in the country in pace of play, almost 80 plays a game. Texas State at 71, not particularly fast, but not brutally slow either. I like the over in this game, 55. I think people will be scared off at Texas State's inability to move the ball, and they could very well struggle here. If they struggle to Lafayette, though, which, again, that wouldn't surprise me, I'm just going to go against them. I think 13.5 is kind of crazy to lay also with Lafayette. I mean, this team can't stop anyone. What makes you think they're going to do anything here? I go over 55. I thought this total would be in the 60s.
Yeah, Texas. I mean, it's obviously the reason why it's not in the 60s is when you look at it, Jeff. It's obviously Texas State is what they're going to be worried about. But ULL, I mean, take away the Idaho game. Idaho's kind of a weird team. You saw UL Lafayette go up there in the Kibbe Dome, 21-16. That's really an anomaly type of game because usually, and again, Idaho isn't as fast as what they have been the past couple of years. Lost a couple wide receivers, but still a decent quarterback up there. But you want to look more about when they get in on that, like, I don't want to say home or keep it down. What I'm trying to say, Jeff, is these kids going up to Idaho in the Kibbe Dome sort of throws it a little bit out of whack. They're going to come home. It's going to be really nice weather. Still in the mid-70s, 80s there. UL Monroe game, Jeff, 56-50. Texas A&M still keep it in the South, 45-21. Tulsa, 66-42. Southeast Louisiana, 51-48. If you look at those games, Jeff, what's the difference there? They went to Idaho to play in a dome. The other ones, they kept it in the Southwest, and they rolled up some numbers there. I'm leading there as well. Wyoming, Jeff, we all know, has been struggling a bit on offense. 45 points they get hung on Texas State's defense. UL Monroe, keep it down south there, 45-27. I agree. It's that philosophy sometimes we use. I like to say, Jeff, like the Cleveland Browns or anybody. When two bad football teams get together, usually the offense can sort of take control because the athletes aren't available on defense for either side. I agree with you on this one. Take the over. It seems like the smart play in that one.
Yeah, and I think John Mashad, who thanks for listening, John. And again, guys, like the show, say hello. Come in here and give great points as you always do. BMOC, you're not worried about Texas State averaging 17? No, I'm not, because if you look at their opponents, now let's go down their opponents, Donnie. Houston Baptist, 20 points, whatever. I don't really count the game. They won the game, whatever. They faced Colorado, very good defensive team. App State, really good defensive team. UTSA, really good defensive team. Wyoming, not a good defensive team, but against Texas State.
Step up in talent.
Right.
Step up in talent.
And it's on the road. And then you play the UL Monroe and you put up 27. So I think it's looking up for them. I think they can score points. They've just faced a lot of really good defenses. And now they face a soft defense here in UL Lafayette. I think they get some points here. I think they go into the 20s. I think this is like a 34-24 type of game, something like that. 37-31. I think they can score some points in this game, Donnie.
No, I agree with you on that. I mean, it's not a great. I mean, Jeff, it's easy. My favorite comments that we talked to ourselves. This game is in the middle of a Saturday at 3:30. You just breeze right over it, but obviously it's a game of the night. It's one game out there, and in college football, the way professional football is now, I always lean on the moniker, Jeff. These games just aren't built for unders. They're just not, unless you're hanging 75 up there, 68.5. Whenever a game in college is sitting in the mid 50s, I mean, we've seen it with bad teams like the Florida Gators of the world going over versus Vanderbilt. I mean. These are much less defensive teams, mid-50s here. They'll let it loose and fly. Read option team UL Lafayette. They should move the ball at will tonight, and there should be some big plays happening on UL Lafayette side, which in turn, Jeff says, you know what, Texas State, you're down 14 points. You better just start throwing it all over the place, and good and bad things happen.
And Dottie, the thing on the silence. Hey, listen, no one's really watching this game. Let's air it out here. Let's keep some people interested if they're actually watching. By the way, Michael Robinson, San Angelo, they're actually in San Marcos, which is a one horse shithole probably as well. But I don't know much about it. I do know one thing about Texas State. Drew Martin and I were talking about this. They actually have they're a town that's has a college in it, and they have a river between it. So there's a lot of fun times to be had at Texas State. I've actually heard it's quite nice, but I don't know much about it overall.
Well, a little bit like what, the river walk down in San Antonio?
It's like a lazy river, supposedly.
Yeah,
like you go there and you get beers and why you would float down a river, I'd have no interest in that myself.
There's some cool spots in Texas down there. That whole region south, when you get south of Dallas, there's some really cool spots down there on the coastline and stuff. I like it.
Perfect Rotation graduated from Texas State. Wow, a Bobcat here. Great.
Damn,
flows through the campus. Yeah, right. I've heard of that. That's kind of cool. LT, you got a great show. Thank you, LT. Appreciate that. I appreciate you listening.
That was me, by the way, Jeff. Logged into another.
Okay, it's LT. You're LT. No. Okay, fair enough. No teasers, my man. Grow a pair. Good point, Walter. No teasers. It's a teaser-free zone.
Tease it. How about Jeff? Yeah. How about if you just tease this game? You didn't even include the Eagles game in it. You just said, you know what? I'm going to take 7.5 and over 49.5. You got problems if we're doing that, folks. Come on.
Yeah. Also, by the way, I saw someone ask, did we see the response from Donald J. Trump to Eminem? No, and that is fake news, by the way. Donald Trump did not tweet that out. That's a fake account. Did you see that tweet, Donnie?
No, I did not.
We all know my feelings on Donald Trump, but I will defend him here. There was a tweet put out about Eminem saying that, something about Papa Doc or something, and it wasn't him, by the way. Again, I don't think Donald Trump would tweet that out. He does tweet out some dumb things, but that's probably not one of them, I think. Though it would be funny if he did, because the Papa Doc
would be good. Actually, he might actually get positive points if he actually made that tweet and it was his.
Right. Correct. Especially with his base. But yes, no, Trump didn't respond. I don't think he's going to. Though Eminem absolutely buried him. Shout out to Eminem. Donnie, let's get into the NFL. The time has come.
Yeah.
Are you an Eminem fan, by the way, Donnie? Have you always loved
Eminem? Know. You know what's funny about that? If you look at me, that was my wheelhouse. Eminem, Slim Shady came out when I was in college.
Sure.
I can't stand Eminem, Jeff. You believe that?
Yeah, I actually want to comment on this. I got a lot of flack yesterday because of my top 10 favorite rappers of all time. Look, I'm from Philadelphia. Donnie's from the area. Yeah. That's where I grew up and what I was into. But people were asking me, I think the general consensus from a white male that likes rap is they automatically love Eminem.
Yes, that is always the thing. Like, you probably love Eminem. I didn't like Eminem very much, man.
Is Eminem, for me, did he allow it to be cool for me to dress the way I wanted to? Yeah, he was a pioneer, and he still is. Shade 45 is one of the greatest radio channels ever. But there were songs I really liked. Like, I thought Stan was a phenomenal song. I thought a lot of his tracks are really good. But
yeah, there's no question he's a great rapper. But
I wasn't a big fan of his. I'm not a big fan of West Coast rap, which is what he generalized towards. Like he had the Dr. Dre connections. There were a lot of great tracks he put out. As far as is he a favorite of mine? No. But his ciphers I really enjoy. I remember he did a cipher a couple years ago with Joe Budden and Royce to 5'9". I really liked on BT. Is he a high-level rapper? Yes, sure. I'm just not a fan of him personally. But tracks like Stan and stuff I think are really well done. And yeah, I think if you're a West Coast guy, I think you really liked Eminem. Or if you're like a young like kid from Iowa or something, I feel like you would like Eminem. But I didn't really like him. I was more or less on the other side there. And I think if you go to Philadelphia, Donnie, a lot of people wouldn't like Eminem. He just didn't really, for us, I couldn't really relate to that personally. But yeah, he's a great rapper, though. It's done a lot for the genre.
Sure.
Let's get into the NFL card, Donnie. Carolina. We've talked about this game all week, Donnie. It's a Thursday night game. We're always going to talk about it. And feel free, guys. We're going to go over every game here, so we'll get to your games. We'll try to get to every game. Philadelphia at Carolina, Donnie. I'm starting to see some threes out there. Is that correct?
Yeah, Pinnacle, Jeff's actually -3, -101 now. And we've seen that thing peak at 3.5 regular juice this week. Chris, same thing, Jeff, -3, -101. Bet Online just dropped at -3, -105.
Yeah, I do want to say I have 3.5. I bet it the other day. I already have it. So the 3 number, again, I think if you like the Eagles, I think you've missed the boat a little bit here. But I guess if you like the Eagles, you think they're going to win outright at this point. Totals at 45. Donnie, we've talked ad nauseum about this game. I think the Eagles are going to win this game. That's just my thoughts. And I've given many reasons why. I'm going to go over a couple more that I've kind of uncovered here. Just kind of looking at Carolina and trying to find flaws here.
Yep.
Yeah, if you're from – that's right, John. That's exactly right. You're from Philly. If you're Philly top 10 can literally be – yeah, exactly right. I think the only one I didn't have was Joe Budden, and he's from Jersey. So, yeah, I mean, it's all Philly, Jersey. Donnie, you look at Carolina. Last 6 is a home favorite of 3.5 to 7 points, 1-5. And Donnie, I think something that hasn't been talked about here is I know we can kind of throw out, it's Thursday night, it's the home team, they have the advantage, and that's clear, sure. But you look at this year at home. You look at Carolina's 2 games at home. 9-3 against Buffalo, and you were crushed 34-13 against the Saints. I mean, do you really right now have a home advantage?
Well, no, I mean, you want to know how Cam Newton. Cam Newton's a little bit healthier in these games, but I agree with you. And again, it's just hard to win in the NFL the way it shapes up. New Orleans looks like they're going to be a much better football team, so I don't know how much you can take away from that game other than, yes, they were at home and they got beat up pretty good. Same thing in that Buffalo game. They didn't show too much on offense. They didn't really have to the way Buffalo, presented themselves. And you can take away whatever you want. They go on the road. It's a nice win at New England. Seems like, me and you, Jeff, can get out there and throw a couple fade patterns and put up 300 yards.
What's the excuse on them only putting up 13 points against the Saints defense?
No, there's no excuse on that.
I'm hearing that their offense is much better and everything, but they're extremely one-dimensional. They have no run game whatsoever. The only run game they have is Cam Newton. And I got to tell you, Donnie, this is where I like having a guy like Jim Schwartz because I feel like he annoys me a lot, but I do think he's someone that will spy Cam Newton. I don't think he'll dominate. If Greg Olson's in here, I don't like the Eagles as much. I just against the tight end, they worry me. You look at the last 3 games also for Carolina, 29.5 points a game they're giving up defensively. They're going to leave the Eagles in this football game. The concern I have here, but I want to preface this, a lot of people bringing up the Lane Johnson stuff and Carson going 2-9. We also have to remember, Carson Wentz had no receivers last year, right?
Rookie.
Right, none. And he was a rookie. Good point. And I mean, Doug Peterson was a rookie also, wasn't he?
No, there was a lot of learning on the fly last year. And I know even Jason Peters was banged up a couple of those games. And Jeff, to bring up that point, because I know we hear a lot about that. So I'm a big guy in the NFL. It's like, and you know me, Jeff, better than anybody. If you tell me the sky is blue, I'm going to try to prove it and say it might be purple at points. That's just the way my mind thinks. But to try to counterbalance that point, you take out Lane Johnson. Yes, he's a really good football player. There's no question about it. So if you say whatever the record was, it came back last year. They beat, one of those wins was against Dallas late in the year, early in the season when everybody was healthy. They were 3-0. Then he goes out on suspension. But let's also take a look, Jeff, what the Eagles did in the offseason. They were banged up on the offensive line all year last year. They go out and get Chase Wermack, re-sign Wisniewski, and obviously Brooks. And also in that game too, Jeff, I believe Brandon Brooks went AWOL in like 3 games last year. So you can't just say.
He did. He had that mental issue.
Just because, Lane Johnson was out. They were really injured.
There's a lot of
healthy out there.
Right. There's a lot of things that go into that. And I think it's magnified here. If Lane Johnson's not out, we don't hear about this stat probably. I mean, we're not going to because he's not out. I mean, it's a lot of things go into that. I mean, it just happened to be he wasn't in there. And look, are they a better offensive line with Lane Johnson?
Oh,
sure they are.
Sure.
I mean,
who isn't with a dominant line?
Right. Yeah. And Donnie, this team has problems a lot of the time with that game where it's a big game and they always seem to have a lineman out, i.e., if you remember Winston Justice.
They have back spasms in pregame, or exactly. Yeah, Trey Thomas isn't going to go tonight. He just had back spasms. Like, great.
We're going to put in Stacey Andrews. I mean, this team has had problems with that, so it's concerning. But you also look at the secondary for the Panthers, which we've talked about. Kirk Coleman's out, unfortunately. Kirk Coleman's out, Donnie. What are we going to do? Demetrius Cox is out. That means Colin Jones and Jarris Byrd will start at safety. That's not good. And, Donnie, you know who I think is going to be the biggest caveat in this football game? I think Alshon Jeffrey has a big game. You look at the corners he's faced so far. Marcus Peters, Josh Norman, Patrick Patterson, Janoris Jenkins, and Cameron Hayward. Those are the corners he's faced. You know who he's going to face in this game, Donnie?
No, and that's the point.
James Bradbury.
I know.
He's from the area.
No, you're right. We said it earlier. I mean, I was one of the sticking points for me that there's going to be some shots downfield if they can protect, which the Eagles can protect. Big V will go over there to slide some protection his way. They'll probably take away Zach Ertz over the middle because they have some good linebackers, some quick ones there. But again, you're right. This should be a game where Alshon Jeffrey says, I'm a number 1 wide receiver. Just checking in on some of the weather conditions, Jeff. It looks like maybe some light rain in the forecast on it. I don't know how much that's actually going to impact the overall game in this one, but it looks like there's a little bit of weather.
And our friend Matt Holt, who really put out some great tweets to me on this game, said they need the Eagles in this game, which doesn't surprise me. Seems like a lot of people are on the Panthers.
67%. Yeah, 67%.
I know the local media's in Philadelphia, which is great because they're never right, ever.
That's true.
So they're all – I don't think I've seen an Eagles bet yet.
You know what the interesting part about this game too, Jeff, coming from a Carolina perspective, if you look at the Eagles the last couple of games, you knew exactly where that quarterback was standing. I mean, you're going to go Carson Palmer. He's not running. Eli Manning, he's not running. Phillip Rivers, he's not running. They did struggle a little bit with Kansas City, but who the hell doesn't struggle right now with Kansas City going out there? You can argue both ways in that Kansas City game. Hey, the Eagles had the lead or they were tied up midway through the fourth quarter. Interception, Kansas City had a 14-point lead. The Eagles actually had a Hail Mary to try to tie it. You can go both ways in that one. But it'll be interesting to see how well, now that Cam Newton's feeling a little bit better, if they can get him outside the pocket and how the Eagles actually handle that, since, it's a lot easier when you're dropping back in man-to-man coverage going, Phillip Rivers ain't running anywhere. Carson Palmer's not taking off. Now that Cam's going to take off, I want to see how they protect and see how they get after. But again, you get a good defensive coordinator, so I'm sure he's going to cover all his bases.
What is Fletcher Cox in your stats? Listen, I think you have to cap this game with the thoughts that he doesn't play.
There's no way he's playing.
He's not going to be.
As an Eagles fan, I would be furious if Fletcher Cox plays. He's so important to that defense. And you say to yourself, because if you leave it up to the player, he's going to get in there.
He's not playing.
50-50 game time decision. I know he made the trip. There's no way he plays, because if he plays in this game and plays 4 plays and hurts his calf again, is out 5 weeks now, when all you have to do is say, you know what, let's bite the bullet one game. We're going to be off until the following Monday night game. He'll be 100% against Washington at home. There's no way they play him in this game.
And that's another plus about this game. Fletcher Cox, would I'd love to have him in there? Sure, I would. But they have plenty of great defensive line.
Timmy Jernigan's been great this year, man. Yeah, so has Bo Allen's been great.
And it would be interesting to see. Ryan Khalil hasn't played in 5 games. He's not playing tonight either. That could be a big caveat here. Can Timmy Jernigan and Bo Allen, knock that pocket down and get in there with a backup center? That could be interesting. You're not going to get me off this. I'm going with the Eagles. I think this mindset for this team. I mean, Donnie, we're around this. I mean, all we hear is Eagles talk. We're here. We hear what's going on with the team. I mean, I just think this team is really going to seize this opportunity. They usually don't, but I think
no, but this is different. Hey, man, our moniker this year has been saying, Jeff, good teams win games like this, and that's what the Eagles do. So if you go to put it this way, if the Eagles go down and beat Carolina tonight, which again, it's a 3-point line. It's not like we're asking for a landslide victory and a huge upset. I mean, it is the NFL. If they go down and win this game, they're going to win the NFC East, and maybe even after that, fight for maybe even getting a bye at this point. Because if they're sitting at 5-1, and they're going to come home and play Washington at home, who's probably going to be without Josh Norman, they should win that football game. And obviously the Giants game late in the season, they're going to be done. There might be 11 wins in this forecast for this football team.
The Eagles defensively are better than Carolina. You cannot tell me that they aren't. Sorry. I think the front seven is just as good. Maybe they're slightly better. They have Thomas Davis and guys like that. But I think the secondary for the Eagles is better than Carolina, surely. The safeties are way better.
Yeah.
Way better. And I think their corners, Eagles corners, are better as well.
Play a lot better this year, yeah.
Yeah, they've been a really bend but don't break defense. Give me the Eagles, 23-20. I'll go Eagles. I like the under as well.
Yeah, I like the under too. You're right. I've been looking at that all week, and it's been dropping. Chris now showing a 44.5. Bet online 45. So you're probably looking anywhere between 45, 45.5 where you're shopping. It's amazing to look down because I believe I saw the stat come out today, Jeff. This is the lowest amount of rushing yards through the first 5 games that the Eagles have allowed since the 1992 Eagles. And that's the Reggie White squads out there with Seth Joyner, Jerome Brown the year before and stuff like that. That was one of those really good teams. I mean, 31 yards, 58 yards, 49 yards, 112 yards. Washington, 64 yards. That's really good out there. But again, you look at Carolina, they're no slouch on defense as well. 50 yards, 80 yards to New England, 149 in New Orleans, which is really, that game must have been an anomaly where, we're giving up a little bit too much on that game. But yeah, no, 2 good teams that stop the run, which in the NFL, takes away from play action, takes away from getting 3rd and 2s. So we'll see what happens. But Thursday Night Football, Jeff, I'll lean under with you as well.
Yeah, we'll see. Either way, it'll be a good game. I'm excited for it. Look, as far as someone on here saying that Carolina's doesn't have the names and they're actually pretty good defensively in the secondary. Okay, I mean, you're not going to try to sell me on that.
But a good defense. No, I don't think we ever said that Carolina doesn't have a good defense. Good front seven.
No, I said
maybe an average secondary. Yeah, no, I'm saying just as a whole. Like, it's not like we're punching holes saying, my God, you're just going to go up and down the field on that, Carolina defense. That's a really good defense.
Yeah. Also, I'd like to hear from people that aren't fans of Carolina or the Eagles. Let's get like an unbiased opinion here on what we think's going to happen. I'd love to hear from Michael Robertson or Michael Baia or Mario Martinez, some a listener that doesn't have a rooting interest here. I'd like to hear their opinion, Donnie.
Yeah, I mean, Detroit banged up. Stafford had the high ankle sprain and the hammy injury. They were able to get 24 points. New England's a good offense. They put up 30. New Orleans is a good offense. They put up 34. So it's not as though like they're in Buffalo, which is offensively challenged, and a 9-3 game, that's good defense. You played San Francisco coming right out of the gate, who's a bad football team. So, I mean, if you look at the teams that actually have decent offenses, it's not like the Eagles are going to go out there and, like Jeff, and get 13 points. They're going to score.
Exactly. Eagles also best team in the league on 3rd down. Carolina's 2nd. That's the concern with the under. 2 teams that are very good at moving the football. Could be interesting. Donnie, let's get to the rest of the card here.
Sure.
We've seemed to talk ad nauseum about this game, but we haven't really talked about any of the other games. So let's kind of delve into the card a little bit, try to give our opinions here. We've talked about some of them, but let's get into it. Let me get my lines here. 251, 252, Cleveland at Houston. Houston -10, total 47. I'm up in the air on this game. Don't have much on it. I think Cleveland with Hogan is, I think they're the same team as they are with Kaiser, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. They're actually the same exact team, except when Hogan gets into the red zone, he's not going to make or excuse me. The difference between those two, Jeff, is I think they can both move the football. Kaiser, you've seen it. He went up and down the field on the Jets, but the rookie is going to make that dumb mistake, which Hogan might make 50% less of those mistakes. So I think having Hogan in, you don't lose that much athletic ability, but I think you gain actual scoring with him in the game.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. As far as defensively, Houston's really injured right now. I mean, they have a lot of injuries, a lot of people off the field. Cushing, obviously, out for a long period of time. J.J. Watt, Whitney Merciless, Kevin Johnson. A lot of the big names are out, Donnie, which isn't good. Houston's defense is going to struggle without them in there. And I think the Browns they're questionable on defense as well. If I had to play this, I would look over, but I think the total is even a little high for my liking. If it was 44, I would more interested in the over. If I had to bet it, I would go over, but this game's not going to be on my card, Donnie.
I actually, Jeff, if there was a play in this game, which this is like the revenge of the NFL, I want to say, where they're just slapping 10-point lines out there, which really, in the NFL is like, if you lay double digits, you're going to end up losing money in the NFL. But that they put them out there because obviously if everybody just took the points, we'd all be millionaires, which isn't the case. I like to tend to stay away from those games. I actually like, Jeff, the over in this situation. If you watch anything from Houston, they should be able to move the football on offense.
Sure.
Now that all their weapons are back, and again, we're playing Cleveland here. This isn't, a ramped up great defense. It's going to be great weather, obviously, because it's a dome. Cleveland's going to come to town. They're going to boom or bust. They'll move the football. They'll turn it over in big spots, but they'll also score some points. But I think Deshaun Watson's going to have another really good day out there. I can easily see another game, Jeff, where Houston gets into the 30s, and Cleveland's going to be throwing it all over the field late in the half. I'll lean on the over in this game. I actually like that.
Maybe a 33-17 type of game.
Yep, there you go. There you go.
J-Dap, think you guys are awesome and really enjoy watching and hearing your opinion. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Appreciate you listening, sir. I'd go over here as well. That was kind of my thought process. New England, New York. New England down to 9 at Bookmaker. Total 47.5. Listen, I mean, Jets have won 3 straight, but it was against Miami, Jacksonville, and I think Cleveland. Who was the other team? Who was the other team they beat? I think it was Cleveland. Either way, I'm not.
Miami. It was Miami, Cleveland, and Jacksonville. Yeah.
There you go. New England, we know has struggled, but Donnie, I do want to point out, looked better on defense in that Thursday night game against Tampa. I mean, I don't know what happened, but it seemed like Bill Belichick went into the office.
I don't even know if it's what happened to that, Jeff. Winston was missing everybody out there. So, I mean, you got to play a little bit of that. And it wasn't like they were just like picking them off and like knocking balls down. Like there were some wide open guys, but I get your point. They did look much better than what they
I've made it clear. I'm going to bet overs in New England games every week. I'll go back to the well here. Over 47.5. I think we're discounting the Jets a little bit on offense. I think they can get into the 14, 17-point range. I think New England will put up their typical 30-plus points. I want to go over here, but then I do want to go New England, but New England's a public darling, as we know. They should win by double digits here, but defensively, I don't think they're very good. I don't know that I believe in it. Like you said, I think it was just that one game when Jameis couldn't do much of anything. They probably should have lost that game if Nick Falk can make field goals. For me, I would lean over.
I like your sentiment on the over because, again, with the New England team, it's interdivision. Sometimes they tend to know each other. They tend to go lower scoring. There's one problem that I like in the favor of injuries in this game. There's one problem I don't like. The one I like, Jeff, is actually Matt Forte and Bilal Powell are going to miss this game. You say, wait a second. Bilal Powell's their best running back. Why would you like the over? Because what that does, Jeff, to me, is saying, look, I can't hand the football off 20 times to a rookie with Elijah McGuire. Unbelievable college football player, but he is a rookie in this game. So you're going to have to throw the ball more. You can't just say, hey, on 2nd and 9, let's run the ball and get 6 yards. Now you're going to have to throw the ball. It's going to extend the game, make it higher. And we all know New England, Jeff. New England marches to their own beat on offense. They don't care if they're up 40 in the fourth quarter. If they're healthy, they're throwing the football down the field and trying to eviscerate teams. They've done it plenty of times in the past. Gronk's going to be back in this football game. That was a big, hey, say what you want about Tampa Bay where they didn't move the football. They still threw for a lot of yards, and that's without Gronkowski, who's going to completely open up the middle. The one thing I'm getting a little bit of pushback on, because when the line opened up this week, Jeff, we like to use that playing on Thursday night, getting the rest, playing the following Sunday while the other team played. That's a huge advantage in New England's spot. But something just doesn't sound right with Tom Brady right now. Are they going to leave him in and let him throw it to the hilt, Jeff, if they're up 14 or 17 points, start of the fourth quarter with that AC joint injury? To me, Tom Brady's a warrior. No matter when he's hurt, he's going to play. But something just gives me a little bit of pause saying, hey, you know what? Instead of dropping back, 35 times, maybe you only drop back 30 in this game, because it's not so much the throwing the ball and the pain tolerance. You're playing on turf, and if you get sacked and landed on, that's going to re-aggravate that injury. That's the only thing giving me pause in this game. But I do agree with you, Jeff. New England in the over always makes sense.
Bill Belichick never goes hard against the Jets. He always says he respects that franchise. Yeah, I mean, judging by last year, it looks to get a ton of respect for them. 41-3. Looks like I see tons of respect in that number. But it's a week-to-week league. I don't really mind what happens.
Jets are playing hard. Jets are playing well. It should be decent weather up there. If you could tell me right now, Jeff, like, hey, man, Brady went through practice Friday. He feels great. they're going to put up their points in this game. The Jets aren't going to stop them. Jets are a nice feel-good story, but now the rubber is going to meet the road in this game. I just don't know what I'm actually getting out of Tom Brady in order to look at covering. Because, again, Jeff, we're not saying let's go Brady 4.5-point spread. You got to win this game by double digits, and it's not a 44 or 42 over-under. You're going to have to hit around 48 points. So it's a tough one there, but I like your sentiment. If I had to play the game, I'd play it over, and I'd play it in New England. Just a little bit fishy here with the Brady.
Yeah, I think this is like a 35-17 type of game. Could be a little closer, 28-20. I think it gets over, though. I really do. That's going to be something that I'm going to be betting on all year, just because I don't believe in New England defensively. Miami and Atlanta. We talked about this game, Donnie, ad nauseum. We talked about it on the roundtable. You can actually get 11.5 in Atlanta. Totals 46.5 or 47. Look, or 46 at Pinnacle. A lot of moving parts in this number. Look, the Dolphins have major problems, not only on the field but off. We've talked about that. It's not just a coach. It's not just Jay Cutler. They don't have a bye. They've been very inconsistent. Their coach looks like his kid just won't do anything right. He's just annoyed, and it seems like he's babysitting these kids. There's just not a lot going on right with Miami right now. I think on the road in Atlanta against a team that is off. They were off a week. In their previous game, they lost. I think they get Julio Jones back. I think they take out some frustration here on a Miami team that's just kind of lost right now.
Yeah, what a different outlook on the Miami Dolphins this year, Jeff. I mean, obviously you resorted to go back to Cutler. Were there any better options out there? I mean, the Kaepernicks. I mean, I don't know who would have been able to come in, but imagine if they still had a healthy Tannehill. Was he's a little bit mobile, can throw the ball downfield. Miami would be a decent football team. And today, I haven't done it yet, but I watched a lot of the game last week. I'm actually going to go back today and watch the Dolphins on offense again, just to see if my eyes aren't playing tricks on me. Like, was it all bad? Because it seems like when I watch Cutler, it's all bad out there. Like, there's nothing I can take away that says, damn it, you know what? Jay Cutler can play ball. And I'm trying to find it to build a case because I like to get 11.5 points in an NFL football game. I think there's something to be said about taking the value, but the same sentiment we talk about, Jeff, is when you have somebody out there that looks like he doesn't give a shit, you can't put your money on that guy.
No, and Jay Cutler's in an interesting situation because he's someone that left the game and came back. So he has the ability at this point after the year's over to say, look, I did it for a year. I may not even have wanted to do it, but I made, $10 million. I'm going to go off into the sunset. Good luck. I mean, there's a light at the end of the tunnel for Jay Cutler. There isn't one for Miami Dolphin fans. They still have to be here after the fact. And when Jay Cutler is checked out, you look at any person, Donnie, that checks out of something, it's not going to be effective. It's not a good product. When you're it's like being a senior in high school and you got a week left.
And you're already accepted to collge and
right.
Exactly.
If a teacher says to me, hey, I need you to do that, I'm going to probably say, go fuck yourself. I'm not doing that. What are you going to do?
Let's look at the Dolphins, though, and you say, you know what? They got weapons. They got an okay offensive line, without their offensive line coach now. Running game coordinator is now gone, which that's not light. I mean, this guy was one of the highest paid guys because of his schemes that he can put in. That's now gone. Jay Cutler, quarterback, Jay Ajayi, 3 good wideouts. You might only have 2 of them this week. But let's look at their season, Jeff. 19 points versus the Chargers.
They haven't put up 20 points yet.
6 versus the Jets. 0 New Orleans. 16 Tennessee. And that 16, Jeff, was a defensive touchdown, was one of those.
Yeah, they're dreadful.
Gracious, man.
It's all about the quarterback, and he's not any good, unfortunately. I think a good point here on the chat by Michael Robertson. Hell, save the cash and let Moore throw this year. Cutler not worth 10. I agree with you. Totally. That's a great point. Could have saved $10 million and gave it to a playmaker, or someone that can help your football team. Jay Cutler's hurting you. He's not helping you at all. And I think Adam Gase is highly regretting this move. Detroit, New Orleans. This is an interesting line. It was 6 last night, Donnie. Actually, you could get Detroit plus 6. New Orleans off a bye. Detroit playing well. You like them in the dome in Detroit. Now
what do you have on that now, Jeff? I have a big bite back this morning on that line.
Yeah, I'm seeing 4.5 everywhere.
Yeah.
There's a 5 at 5 dimes that we don't really count that. 4.5, 50 a total. At 6 like Detroit a lot. I think it's 6 or 6.5. I think a lot of the time when you see that line, I think many, and I've actually seen someone mention on this chat before, 6 seems like a number that a lot of public people will jump on and just say, well, they're going to win by a touchdown. I like that a lot. A lot of the time, that 6 number, the underdog covers always.
Because big back door, double-digit back door is ready to go. Yeah.
Fixing my camera here. I had a little trouble with that.
Let it fall down.
No, I need I can't get a camera stand because it's a webcam. There's nothing really to use to hang it.
Yeah, they have the little screw. Like I have the mini one. If you go on like Amazon, you go into like tripods. They have the 5-foot ones that collapse down to like 2 feet and then go a lot higher. That's what I use.
Yeah. Fucking hell, I gotta look at something. Yeah. But yeah, this is a tough one. At 6, I liked Detroit, but at 4.5, I don't know. I'm up in the air on this game. I don't have much of an opinion. Do you have anything here?
No. And the one thing that's giving me pause, Jeff, is when the line opened up, you're saying, wait a second. I got Matt Stafford, who, he's going to play. Gamers play. Quarterbacks that are tough as nails like he is, maybe a high ankle sprain to some degree and a hamstring injury at the same time. We know watching Matt Stafford, he moves around well in the pocket, is able to throw. If that's a little bit hamstrung, so right off the bat, I agreed with the line movement, Jeff. Opened up, what do we get? Maybe 4.5, and then goes up to 6. Like, I missed out on it. Now that bite back, which gives you a little bit of pause, because if you look at New Orleans, talking about opening up the season, no shame in going to Minnesota opening night and taking a loss with a healthy or somewhat healthy Minnesota team. Then you go to New England, or New England comes into town. They hang one on you, but they respond really well, thumping Carolina on the road and then beating Miami 20-0. I don't know why we're not more hyped up on New Orleans here, Jeff. In the dome, at home, healthy, getting a bye. Like, what are we missing something?
Yeah, off a tough, hard-fought outing from the other team. Yeah, I hear you. I think at 6, I liked it a lot more. At 4.5, I don't.
Jeff, hold on. Here, let's. We're gonna do Johnny Public here on this one. You know what the buyback in that one was from, Jeff?
No, what?
Adrian Peterson got traded, so think back 10 years ago when he was something else. They lost AP. Yeah, I'm off that game now. Buyback.
Yeah.
What else?
He was huge.
Haloti Nada's going to be out of this football game.
Yeah.
So, you have some injuries on the. Again, in a dome somewhere, Matt Stafford with the football. I like to look at it more at home, but now he's banged up. Drew Brees in the dome. It's tough to go against, man.
I like Detroit at home. On the road, I'm not as interested. Walter Trotter, I like your comments, but this might be one of the dumbest things you've ever said. Celtics,
what is it? Give me it.
Celtics will be trash, bro. After Kyrie and Gordon Hayward, who is scoring?
I like his thoughts. I don't like Boston.
What? What do you mean you don't like him? Jason Tatum might be a Rookie of the Year candidate. Jaylen Brown is a man, dude. He is going to be really good also. Shemi Ojale, don't sleep on him. Out of SMU, kid can shoot. Marcus Smart, we know he's a good guard. And you got Kyrie Irving. Do I like their bigs? I'm not in love with them. I like Horford. He's a decent player. I like Marcus Morris. I think he's a pretty good player still at the 4. Good rebounder, kid that can give you something. I'm not sure what you mean by trash. They're probably the second best team in the East. Not really sure how they're trash, but maybe you can enlighten us on that. Donnie, you really don't like the Celtics? You're just messing around.
No, I'm just the ball. I'm just I put on my haters ball helmet or hat as soon as I hear something about Boston.
Okay, that's why. I got you.
Yeah. No, it's not that they're a really good basketball team, but I'm just because I don't like Boston. I'm just gonna be like, yeah, I just
right. No, I get what you're saying. And by the way, any team with Shemi Ojale on it, I like because I loved him in college at Southern Methodist. I think the dumbest move in history was Duke letting him go and him going to SMU. Wherever he is, I'll root for him. I might even get his jersey. Let's move on. We'll do one or two more here, Donnie. Kind of then wrap the show up. We can't go for hours here. Let's just pick 2 random games, Donnie. Yeah. Let's go to this one. Actually, we'll go right down the line. Green Bay, Minnesota. Green Bay -3, total 46.5. Donnie, Ryan D'Amico, Ryan, him and I were talking about this game. And he, the first thing he said to me was, man, that line stinks. And I said,
yes, go ahead. There you go. Good. Now let's do it. Yep, let's get into it now. There you go.
I said, I can't disagree with you. I said, I liked Minnesota at the beginning of the year to win this division. I was really high on them, but then I look at this line and I say, they really need this game. It's an NFC North showdown. Why is the line only 3?
I'm telling you, Jeff, like you like to, again, week to week is what we like to say. And if you're just looking week to week, I'm trying my best here to do this because I've bet Minnesota in this situation, Green Bay, and got lit on fire a couple times already. That whole, because it's Aaron Rodgers. It's so hard to bet against Aaron Rodgers unless you're getting 10 points like the Cincinnati Bengals were getting. If we look at this game, Jeff, and you break it down, you say, what do you like about Green Bay? Well, they went on the road, a hard-fought victory over Dallas, which shows they're a good team. They weren't even healthy in that game. They're probably going to have both tackles back for this game as opposed to only had one the last time. They tried to work in running backs. Now it looks like, they have some good young running backs to work with. But again, they're still young. You leave the football game last week, what happened? Jordy Nelson went down. And you say, okay, maybe a week later this year will be good. But let's look at Minnesota on their side of the ball. Bradford's not going to play in this game. That's who you factored on the season that maybe if you can get to the playoffs, Bradford's going to play a part. Hey, man, Dalvin Cook is amazing, man. Look how good he is. Dalvin Cook's now no longer, with it. So you watch the football game from last week also, Jeff. You say, well, hey, Adam Thielen's pretty good out there. And Stephon Diggs, one of the most electric guys. He goes down with a groin injury. And I'm looking at this game, and I'm going, all right, opens up at 3 or 4. It's at 4.5 or 4 during the week. And then I'll see the bite back to 3. And now it has my interest saying, why is that buyback there, Jeff? But you're right. The original premise that you had is sitting at 3 today, and I'm scratching my head trying to build a case for Minnesota, right. Almost like saying, Donnie, don't outsmart yourself. If Aaron Rodgers is healthy and upright and their offensive line is somewhat healthy, they should win this football game.
On paper to be a winner.
It really does.
That's my concern here. And I got to tell you, I really like the under. I think the under is a good play. I think the Packers will move the ball, but I don't think they're going to put up 30 plus here.
That's a good defense. Yeah,
I think the Vikings though will struggle to move the ball. I do. I think is Case Keenum, can he continue to run this offense? I don't know. I mean, they have a lot of weapons out. Dalvin Cook's out, as we saw. They didn't really move the ball that well against the Bears. And the Packers, again, they're at home here, Viking. I don't know. It's a tough one. But
yeah, they moved it all right. And they didn't do it. Understand Bradford. They didn't do a damn thing. And it's kind of funny, sure. Jeff, and they show the MRI. Nothing really is structurally wrong. And he didn't re-injure it on Monday. I was like, Sammy, it's time to retire. If you didn't hurt your knee any worse, just hang it up, brother, for real. But, Case Keenum at home in a prime spot, and you're not asking him to say, hey, let's lean on Dalvin Cook in the defense. You can't just lean on your defense when you're playing Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I hear you. This one just looks too easy, so I'm just going to avoid it. I wouldn't be surprised to see Minnesota win this game or something. This just looks too weird. Let's go to this one, Donnie. I want to talk about this one. Sure. Ravens -6 against the Bears. I got to tell you, I think the Ravens are one of the better plays of the week. This week. I know people are going to say to you, well, the Ravens offense sucks, or that number's 6, so that usually means the dogs will come to play. Listen, I think if Chicago's going to win games, it's going to be at home this year. I think in this spot with no receivers, I took their team total under last week. I'd have to think their team total's around, 14 this week. I really like Baltimore in this game. I think at home, I think they win 21-10. I think they beat Chicago. I think they make it really difficult on Trubisky here on the road. I think Baltimore might have the best defense in the league, maybe other than Denver. I think Trubisky's really going to struggle here.
Yeah, here's what I need to see in this game, which me, I was waiting damn near all Monday night and Tuesday morning for a line to come out. It comes out at 6.5, been bouncing back and forth. I haven't moved on that line yet because I'm trying to wait on a couple things. There's 2 things that I like in this football game and a couple things I dislike. It looks like Brandon Williams, Baltimore Ravens, probably the best player on defense overall. The key to the defense, stopping the run, looks like he's going to play this week, which is a big help. Jimmy Smith last week returned a touchdown, but only played 5 to 6 plays in that win of the Raiders because of an Achilles injury. I need him to be in this game. I'm actually looking more of instead of saying, can Baltimore cover at home? Oh, well, Baltimore never covers lines. Don't do this. They just lost to the Steelers. They're a better overall football game. They should win this. But I actually think, Jeff, the better play right now might be on the under in this game. So your sentiment there on a team total under, because if you look at the way most of these teams play, which is why I like the under in the Minnesota game with Chicago, not actually a side or taking the 3 saying that line seems short, rookie quarterback in the game. Because when you lean on good football teams, the Ravens come into this game, Jeff, what should their mindset be? Let's go out and play really good defense. Let's not turn the ball over on offense. Let's make the kid force the ball, and then we'll get up 7 or 10 points, and we'll just ride this game out. Because say what you want about the Bears, stink on offense. The defense does come to play each and every week. They do have a pretty good defense. You're going to match up both of those here, and there's not going to be a lot of huge plays in this game. I'll lean on the under. If you get something like 39.5 in that range, I think it's more of an underplay for me than actually a side play.
BMOC, Baltimore's defense has faced no one good. Raiders without Carr, Cincy before coordinator fired, Cleveland. Well, fortunately, they're not facing anyone good here either.
That's true. That's the point. Yeah.
This is a weekly league. I don't care. What I've seen so far is Baltimore looks pretty damn good on defense. I'm not in the business of looking into who they played or how they did it. From my standpoint, they've looked great on defense. They're not playing New England this week. They're not playing a high-level offense either this week. I think this week, defensively, they are going to be dominant. I agree with you. I like your point on the under. I picked off a couple of these unders this year, 39 or 40. I think a lot of people just kind of either stay away or they don't want to get involved because that's a low total. But I agree with you. I think Baltimore's going to do the bulk of the scoring here. Like I said, I think it's a 21-10 type of game. Look for Baltimore to really make it difficult for the Bears. And yeah, I do think they're the best team defensively in the league.
They're going to get their best player back this week, which is going to really help them out. And again, if you're the Chicago Bears, you want to try to run the football. You want to shorten the game. You want to play field position because the MO right now, if you're Chicago, Jeff, is do you want Trubisky throwing 45 times on the road at Baltimore? No way. And if you're Baltimore, their offense isn't built for the big play, so to speak. I know, hey, Mike Wallace is fast. Joe Flacco has a good arm. But when you come into football games like this, your mindset's different. Let's just say Baltimore's at home, Jeff, and Green Bay's coming to town. You know what Baltimore's dialing up in the meeting rooms? Look, hey, we need 30 today. Like nothing short of 30, we need it. You know what they're saying in the game, in the conferences today? Hey, guys, don't beat yourself on Sunday and we'll take care of the rest. Two different mindsets heading in, and the same thing from the Bears' perspective. They're going, hey, we got our young guy. We want to teach him. We want him to progress. I don't want to put him in bad spots. Let's run the ball first and second down. We'll keep the clock going. We'll play field position, and that's what's going to take place. I would be hard-pressed, Jeff, to say, 34-21 final in this one. I see more of what, 23-10, something in that range?
Yeah, that's right. That's where I kind of have it, 21-10, 23-10. Let's do one more, Donnie.
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Tampa Bay at Arizona.
Good one.
And we continue to pile on Arizona because they're just not any good, which we've said all year. They're not any good. And, Donnie, I have to tell you, I think Tampa Bay is one of the best bets on the board. I've heard from multiple sources. Now, I know Quan's been a tough source for me. I've really tried to find, good info on Quan Alexander. It's been tough. But even one of the reporters from the Tampa Bay Times tweeted out that not only is Quan Alexander practicing, so is Levante David, so is TJ Ward. I think if you can get even 2 of the 3 back this week, that's going to make a whole hell of a lot of difference here. You already have Brent Grimes back. You already have, Quan Alexander has been practicing. I think if you can get him back and maybe a TJ Ward, I'd really like Tampa here. We haven't seen a complete performance from this team yet. I think their kicker situation has been a bit of a problem, as we know. That lost them the game last week. Arizona's just not any good. They can't run the football. I don't think A.J. Peterson is going to make much of a difference here. They still have a dreadful offensive line. Defensively, they've been exploited at times this year. I like Tampa in this game, Donnie. It might be a square play, but I'm going to go with
it. The best part about it, Jeff, it's a super square play. It's 80%, siding with Tampa Bay. It's a perfect situation for what I look for. Again, you're rested up. You were banged up versus New England. Now you had the extra time off. You might get some pieces back there. TJ Ward comes back. If you get at least one of the 2 linebackers back in this game, you have an offense that can move the football. You have a defense that can possibly put pressure on Carson Palmer because he doesn't move out of the way. And you have one of the best defensive tackles in the game that's going to push that pocket regardless of what happens. They got to Tom Brady, forced an interception, and sacked him for a fumble. Why can't I make a decision on this game, Jeff? I look at it, opens up at a pick 'em, goes right to 2.5. Now it's back to 1.5. And I'm saying to myself, am I watching like the right football teams? Not to say Tampa Bay is a world beater, Jeff, but they have talent on that football team. when you look from an Arizona perspective, Patrick Peterson even showed up on the injury report this week. If you say you want Arizona, okay, secondary, Patrick Peterson's going to take away Mike Evans, Deshaun Jackson with the Honey Badger back at safety. Maybe they can hold him down. But the whole thing doesn't make sense because it's predicated on Arizona's offense. Can they move the football and do something? I know Vernon Hargreaves was atrocious, but that's New England making him look atrocious and really factoring it in. You might get TJ Ward back to help. This game, before it even started, and what I mean by that is that before the line came out, you circle it and go, Tampa Bay is going to bust Arizona this week. And for some reason, I find myself, Jeff, trying to build a case for Arizona on why that line is so low. Because with it being low, it's saying Arizona needs to win this football game in order to cover. And I haven't seen anything out of Arizona this year, Jeff, that would lead me to believe that Tampa Bay can't go in there and score 27 points and say, we're getting out of here 27-21, 27-20 or less. Why would we be on Arizona here? That's the case I'm trying to bring up.
No, there's really no feasible reason to be on them. I agree with you on that. It'll be interesting, Donnie. There's some interesting numbers out there this week. Like I said, Tampa Bay really hasn't put a complete football game together and looked really good in that game. They need to get back healthy on defense. I think if you get Kyle Alexander back and TJ Ward back, I think that's going to help your football team clearly in a big way. Donnie, we'll look to wrap the show up here. We can't go over every game. As you know, we got to go over college football. We had the baseball we're talking about. If you would leave, blah, 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 blah. So, again, we're going to have to wrap it up here. Donnie, last night I had a play in the NBA. I had Charlotte +8. They were down 1 with like a minute and a half to go, and they ended up pushing. Brutal beat there. Nice comeback for the Hornets. But, again, the system pushed. I've had one loss with this system. So, again, it's gaining steam, Donnie, as we head into the big stretch with the NBA starting on Tuesday.
It's coming up big. Hey, and by the way, we would be remiss since we are, in Philadelphia. We are Sixer fans. Yes. Sixers look dreadful in the preseason so far. They got one guy back, and they look like they're going to destroy everything in their way. It's just kind of funny, the talent. And again, Jeff, I think Joel Embiid adds like 15 pounds every year and gets bigger and stronger and just reappears and dominates in short time. Like a nice game. Hey, 20-7. Damn, nice game. No, bro, I played like 15 minutes. Amazing.
Donnie, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If I asked you now, you haven't looked at this, so I don't think you'll know. What do you think the price is on Joel? Like, where would you grab Joel Embiid to win the MVP? What price would you need to do that?
I don't know what it would be. I mean, it's going to be high just because the usual suspects are going to be in there, and they like to give the MVP to the best, player on the best team, or at least, making a run to the finals, or having a year like Russell Westbrook where it was just, triple doubles every night, something we have never seen. I don't think it's got to be really high because most people are banking on what? Him only playing like 50 games, 60 games, if that.
Right. So what
is the price? I don't even know what it would be.
65 or 66-1.
Well, yeah, it's a high price. That's high because if all goes right and the Sixers end up in like the 3 hole in the East for some reason, he's going to be the reason they're there. So yeah, that's a pretty high number.
It's crazy, right? Yeah. I'm tempted at this point. It's one game though in the preseason against the Nets.
Yep.
So again, it's not the easiest thing to do, but it'll be fun. Yeah, great game. How about Dario last night too? He had a great game also. Dario,
what a great glue guy for your team. Yeah, it's a good play.
Sure. Bayless is back in there healthy. There's a lot to look forward to with the Sixers. The one concern here is defensively, but I would think they will get better over time just because of the cohesion. Not everyone's been in there, blah, 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 blah. But as far as tonight, there's only 2 NBA games, so it's doubtful that I'll have anything. But if I do, I'll make sure to let everyone know. Jim O'Brien's a big part of the Sixers' success. You know what? It's funny. Donnie, Jim O'Brien used to rent a shore house directly across the street from me.
He's a shore boy, isn't he? Yeah, he's a shore guy.
For many years.
I grew up down there. Yeah.
Yeah, for many years. He used to rent the same shore house every year, and it was literally directly across the street from me. And, when I was younger, I used to say hello to him. He's a really nice guy, and he's a great coach, a good dude, and I think he's been really integral. That's a good point. What about Malik Monk? He looked good. Yeah, you know what? I actually grabbed him to win the Rookie of the Year. I think at 30-1, he's an interesting player. I think he's instant offense for your team. And I think the Hornets are a team that's kind of looking up. He was great last night, Donnie, and I think kind of a fringe guy at a good price, 30-1. I think Malik Monk's worth a look. He's going to give you instant offense, surely. Him and Kyle Kuzma are both interesting. I've heard a lot of Kyle Kuzma stuff. Lakers are going to be better, Donnie, than people think. I'm telling you, they're going to make the playoffs. Donnie, let's wrap it up here.
Yep.
Everyone have a great day. We appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate all the fun back and forth. Whether you love us or hate us, we appreciate it. Donnie, somebody tweeted out that Sportsbit's on. Do you want to give them going out our version of Sportsbit?
All right. Do you have a little background we can do?
As far as like the music?
I thought you had a little music, or maybe you can mouth the music. Yes. Bad beats, bad books, bad books. What's good for the books? You're here with Teddy. We're going to break down the Arizona game tonight. Teddy, what's it going to look like in the books tonight? I have a quote here that's saying, tonight, Ron Rivera says that Beasley on the defensive side is going to be a really good football player. Maybe he can come off the bench.
Wait. Donnie, I got to go. I got to go.
By the way, tonight, if you tune into the closing line tonight, I will force Teddy to stay on an extra 5 minutes regardless if he has to go anywhere. So,
Donnie, also, before we go,
yeah,
I'm going to put you on the spot here because I think it is really good.
What?
Can we get your Big Al McMorty impression?
You got to open up the show, though.
Okay, I'll pretend to be Peter Loshik. This is not my Peter Loshik impression, but we're here with Big Al McMorty from BigAl.com. We're taking a look at Michigan hosting Michigan State. Michigan -6, total 54. Al, what do you like here?
Yeah, I mean, looking at the Michigan game, I mean, coming into the football game, it's going to be a really good one. I mean, if you're taking a look at going back and back over the year in the series there, Michigan really holds an advantage in the Big House. I really think it's going to be good. If you take a look at the stats over the past 16 years, it really matches up well. 22-7 overall to the number as we look to see this go over, Pete.
Oh my God, man. Al McMorty is great.
Hey, man, look, we kid because we care on SBR. Whenever I see new videos on there, me and Jeff just, we don't, and again, we don't watch very many of the videos saying, let me really study this. It's just a quick thing on the fly that we can do, but
I'm dying.
We have fun on the air, man. That was one, Jeff, that came. We were just going over videos the other night, folks, just to give you a little bit of background. And as soon as I heard Al's voice, I'm like, I can do that right away.
You heard that, Don. And we were doing this the other night. You heard Al McMorty, and you just start doing it, and you're like, wow, I'm really good at this.
Right off the bat, yeah. I only needed like one sentence there.
Yeah, we're going to look to see if we can get Michigan at that big total there, and I think we can pull it out, Pete. 22-7 over the number in the previous. We're going to look ahead next week when they have a game against Purdue, and we'll see if they can carry that out as well.
Yo, I feel like I'm listening to Al McMorty. It's amazing. All right, someone's asking me to do Joe Duffy. All right.
Yeah, dude, you're Joe. Hold on, I'll preface it as well. Hey, we're opening up. It's the late night on campus here. I'm going to introduce a guy that's always around, one of the best in the business. It's Mr. Joe Duffy. Joe, how's it going down there?
Well, thank you, big man. I'm Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. We go all the way back to the Scorephone days, 1989, tried and true over at OffshoreInsiders.com. Be sure also, folks, check in Facebook Live, the ultimate tailgate party on Facebook Live. It's Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com.
It is a good one, man. Catch me on the tail. Hey, yeah. Joe, don't you do something on Saturday and Sunday morning before 10 a.m.? Take us a little bit about the tailgate party that you put on
Donnie,
Facebook Live.
Catch me, Donnie, I know the girls come here to check out you. Check me out on the tailgate party on SBR Forum, Facebook Live. We'll go over all the games that I ran through my tried and true system. It's Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com.
That's the inflection is exactly what makes it there, man. You have to have those pauses in and out there. It's great, man. We have a lot of fun here on the show. But we got to get out of here, folks. Running over a little bit over time. SBR doesn't like to pay us that much overtime. So, Jeff, you want to leave them with something before we get out of here?
Dave Koken, I'll work on that. I actually could probably do a Dave Koken, which I will work on. And we'll someday we'll do a show, or we'll just do it impressions all the time. I can do a pretty good couple different ones. So we'll see. Everyone have a great night. Go Eagles. I believe I'll be on with Gabe tonight. I don't know if we're doing a full bet cast, but I think we need to do something. I'll get in touch with Zach and see what we're doing. Catch Donnie on the closing line at 6 o'clock. Also, 3 o'clock, I'll be recording the Bet Buffet, the BMOC Bet Buffet. 3-1 last week, Donnie, on the plays. Gaining steam on the Bet Buffet. Check out that tomorrow morning on SBR. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow, 12:30, Football Friday. Catch us then. Go Eagles.
And may the winners be yours.